The big question is, when you have bad credit, can you still open a business bank account, a checking account, a savings account? Let's have a conversation about that, because a lot of folks are confused about this whole notion of bad credit, poor credit, fair credit, and business account. So here's an overview I really want you to pay attention to. So the thing here is that if you have bad credit, if you have, let's say, a FICO score that is below 579, you can still open a business checking account. Now, if you're having problems that opening a bank account, that's because not only do you have bad credit, but you had other issues with the bank, either your check system, your telecheck, or like you have other issues going on right now. And it's really important to understand that if the bank is actually asking you questions about, like if they're asking you some paperwork, whatever, it's not because the bank just want to really, learn more about you or whatever. They kind of nosy. No, there are some federal regulations that really impose upon the bank to actually get data from the customers, okay? And that's called KYC, know your customer. So this is really important to really understand, because we have gotten in the last few days some viewers who were confused and pissed that they couldn't open a bank account because they had poor credit, and they checked their FICO score, they checked their TransUnion, and they checked their Equifax and whatnot, and that they were like around 525. So they thought that was why the bank, in this case, it was Chase and PNC. The bank did not want to open their account. Okay, so I just want to answer the short answer to a complicated question is that yes, you can open a business account even if you have bad credit. It depends on the extent of the credit, and it depends on the conditions surrounding that bad credit. Why did you have bad credit in the first place? Did you file for bankruptcy? Did you actually did you have any problems with the bank itself in terms of your check system? So those are things I want to talk about. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here to have a quick conversation about this a very important topic. And so one thing you need to understand here is that your credit does affect opening a business bank account in some ways. Why? Because when you are trying to open an account, if you want to open a business account, it depends on the type of account. The bank might check your credit to sort of confirm your credit history. The bank might do some due diligence. It also depends on the type of account you want to open. If you want to open a merchant account, then the due diligence is more stricter than if you were to open like just an everyday checking account. Okay, and it also depends if you want to have like a private net worth, like a private management, a wealth management account on your business, or you have some kind of convoluted structure on your LLC or S corporation, for instance. The bank might have to do more digging. And again, it's not because the bank is trying to be nosy here. The bank has to actually comply with some regulatory guidelines. One thing you need to understand here is that the bank will actually check your business credit, but also check your personal credit. So when we talk about you having bad credit, we are speaking about two things at the same time, right? So we're speaking about your personal credit, but we're also talking about the business credit. So you have this duality that you need to really pay attention to. Now things get more complicated actually on the business side, because on the personal side, the bank can understand, this person filed for bankruptcy maybe a couple of years ago, and this person had some little problems in their privacy, blah 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 blah. The bank is more likely to forgive that part of things unless you actually did something like real bad, like if you had like some kind of run-ins with other banks, and so you end up having a check system file, then it will be a little problematic. But things are more complicated on the business side. So basically, on the personal side, the bank can really forgive you. But on the business side, if you have bad credit, the bank might actually think, okay, the bank will start digging a lot more. And so the bank will pay attention to your net 30 vendors, your net 45 vendors, and what's the cause of that like that low paydex score? Because you understand the paydex score goes from a good score the score ranges from 0 to 100, right? And 80 is actually considered a very good score. And so anything below that is not really, it's subpar. Okay, so if you have bad credit, either personally or business wise, the bank might place restrictions on your account. In other words, you might not be able to do certain things, like or the bank will just give you a very basic business bank account with weak credit, so you will never be able to access commercial credit lines. And so those are things that the bank might place on your account, at least at the beginning. And if you actually improve your relationship with the bank, then the bank will start being more flexible with you. So again, it's just the bank. The bank is just trying to cover its ass, so to speak. Here's the approach I want to talk to you about. So the thing is, we cannot talk about business bank account, bad credit, and without talking about check systems. I mean, this is quite essential. So check system is basically an agency. It's like a consumer reporting agency that that houses all important information about individuals' interactions with banks and also companies' interactions with banks. So if you have some issues in the past, like let's say you effed up and something happens in your banking history, whatever, the bank will actually will report your history to a check system, and that this will actually prevent other banks from opening account in your name. Okay, and the thing here is that if you have bad credit, there is a strong correlation between bad credit, and bad payment history, or bad banking history. In other words, what I'm trying to say here is that it has been proven, and I'm not the one saying it. There has been research even coming from the SBA, the U.S. Small Business Administration. Of all agencies, this is pretty serious, right? A federal agency that shows that there is a strong correlation. There's a strong correlation between bad credit and bad banking history. So if you happen to have this parallel correlation, this one-on-one correlation between, like let's say you have bad credit, and on top of that you have a bad banking history, you are going to have problems actually opening a business bank account. And in that case, what will happen here is that you'll have to actually pay off whatever derogatory, you have to pay the amount that caused the derogatory items to be actually in your check system in the first place. Okay, so if you ran, let's say, a series of overdrafts at other banks, then you have to go to that bank or to those banks and actually pay off those overdrafts. Or if something happens, like if you were a victim of, let's say, identity fraud, then you have to go to you have to actually follow a certain process to make sure that your good name is actually it's like your name is clean, right? So the bottom line here is what? The bottom line here is that check system tracks consumer banking behavior, assigns consumers a scores, and reports it to the bank. And scores range from 100 to 899. So the higher your score, the less risk you pose. The less risk you pose to banks. And in some cases, check system will also track banks I would say business banking behavior. All right, but everything goes back to the individual though. Let's talk about how to get a business bank account when you have bad credit. Let's really, now I want to show you the step-by-step you need to follow right now. If you're trying to have, let's say you are trying to open a bank account, a business bank account, and you really have bad credit, you have crappy credit, the first thing you want to do here is to form a relationship with the bank. Oh yeah, boy. Boss, I'm telling you. The funny thing is when we talk about relationships, people always sit around like, yeah, what the F is he talking about? I just want to open an account. I don't know. Like I want solid advice. I want quantifiable advice. He's just talking whatever. Or, sometimes we hear some random comments that, this is all cap. It's totally cap, not true at all. And I'm like, our team, we just laugh, we laugh our asses off because, we've been in this game for 30, 35 years. And, we just like, who's this boy? He was just born yesterday and he just came in the industry and he's just talking about this is cap. Everything I'm telling you on this show is no cap. That's reality. You need to form a relationship with the bank. Sometimes on YouTube, people tell you, yeah, if you want to get a business bank account when you have bad credit, you just have to follow these steps. And, they talk about, well, you have to write a letter. You have to do this. You have to call. You have to file. You have to hire a lawyer. Yeah, you got to really dispute things legally. Blah 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 blah. The point I'm telling you here is that boss, we are all humans, and those banks that you're talking about, those banks, you have humans working there. Okay, we're not speaking about robots here. We're speaking about Uncle Johnny or Auntie May. We're talking about regular people who work at those banks. So you want to form a relationship. So right now, if you are, let's say you are in a neighborhood right now, you want to actually form a relationship with your neighborhood bank. Okay, go to the branch, have a conversation, have coffee, have tea, have something, talk to people. All right, shake hands. You want people to know, you want your banker to know you by first name. If you have bad credit, you got to form a relationship. And I'm not talking about just pulling your cash in an account. I'm talking about you knowing folks there, okay? People have to respect you. See, the whole thing here is that, people believe that if you have bad credit, and this is the only criterion that the bank will actually pay attention to when evaluating your profile. No, as I said before, banks there are humans who work there. They're not minions. They're not robots. They're not bots. They're people like you and me. So the first thing you want to do is you want to form a relationship with the bank. The second thing I want you to do here is you need to go back and clean up your check system reports. As I said before, there's a strong correlation between your bad credit and your check system report. So if there is if you happen to have problems both on your FICO report and check system report, you want to go back and just clean whatever led to the check system entry in the first place, okay? Because see, the thing is, you can't really go back and try to form a relationship if you haven't not solidified the foundation of your banking parameters, okay? And this is, and again, it's like with everything in life, it's like with everything in life. I mean, let's say you were actually with a woman before, right? And you just broke up, or you were with a man before, you just broke up. And now you want to get together and you haven't really talked things through. You got to talk things through to make sure everybody says whatever they have on their heart, and in a very I would say cohesive environment, you find solutions. It's the same thing. All right. So the thing is that if you are thinking about let's say you want to re-engage with the bank, you want to recultivate a relationship with the bank, a relationship that was broken let's say years ago or months ago, you got to go back and really reintroduce yourself and find ways to actually re-engage. And the first thing you got to do, you got to pay off whatever whatever you owe the bank. Oh yeah. And see, don't get me started talking about, the bank is rich. Yeah, those overdraft, it was only $20 or $30 whatever. Listen, money is money. Okay, money is money. If you owe $20 and you owe $20 to a rich man or rich woman, give him or her the money and let him or her tell you, hey, listen, I don't need this. Take it back. Okay, so it's not about. So it's a matter of principle. It's a matter to say, you know what? I want to really, really fix things. And you also want to read your check system report in full granularity, to see if errors exist. If you find an error, you want to dispute it with check system too, because see, the whole thing is that sometimes there could be errors, and this process of resolution can actually take up to 30 days, but it could result in the item being removed and your score improving. The third thing I want you to do here is to form a not a relationship, just a relationship, but form an ALC. See, if you form an ALC, you could actually try to deflect the situation, even though this is not a really like a 100% strategy that we would advise to our clients. I mean, we've tried a couple of times for certain clients, and this strategy did work, but hey, listen, it depends on your situation. So what is the situation here? What is not a situation? What is the scenario? So the thing here is that, see, if you have bad credit and you're trying to open a business bank account, and the bank is actually linking that business bank account to your name, to your social, and to everything, actually tracing their origin back to you, and you quote unquote being problematic right now, you can't really open the bank account. It's just pure logic. Where I'm coming from, my old folks used to say country logic. That's how we call it. Country logic. It's just country logic. Very basic logic. Like, if the bank thinks that you are like a, I don't know, I don't want to put it that way, but let's say you're like a spoiled goods, whatever. If you're perished goods or spoiled goods, you're not going to get anything good out of it. So what do? What you do here is that you want to actually rebrand, right? See, sometimes you see this in the news. You see a company that actually, they effed up big time, and then they're trying to reinvent themselves. So they change names and they have a new logo, they have a new brand, whatever. And the funny thing is, it does work. It does work. So do the same thing. Form an ALC, okay? And so try to open the account through your LLC. So instead of having your social, you can have now your EIN, your tax identification number, your employer identification number. This is a great opportunity also to tell the bank to just focus on your business and just forget about yourself. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to open a business bank account when you have bad credit. When you have crappy credit, how do you play the games? How do you actually do the stuff that you want to do? And the thing here is that when we talk about having an LLC, this could also be something else, though. It could be forming an S corporation or forming a C corporation. The whole idea here is to shift the focus from yourself, from you as an individual, to the company that you're about to form, right? So this could be a great opportunity to sort of reinvent yourself. The last thing I want you to do here, actually the next to last thing, is I want you to consider a credit union. See, the whole thing here is that credit unions are known historically. They have been known to be more flexible, more amenable to I would say individual realities than traditional banks. And when we talk about banks, you know, sometimes it's also about is the bank a traditional bank? Is it like, because what I'm talking about, traditional bank, is the bank a national bank? So some banks are very national, very conservative, very like, this is how we do, this is how we do things. This is how we will continue to do things. Or if you happen to have a bank that's modern, that wants to change things, that wants to embrace stuff, and you have young leaders in the bank, that's kind of cool though. That's really cool. So what I want to say here is that you want to consider a credit union. You want to see if you can form a relationship with that credit union, because credit unions are, they're more sympathetic to their members, and you want to start from there. And you can also try to apply with a bank that doesn't use check system. There are a lot of banks that do not use check system. It's all about you making sure that you have the right strategy. I mean, there are a handful of banks, including Chime Bank and BBVA USA, that actually will not run a check system report when considering you for a business checking account. There are also local banks that may not consult with check system at all. Okay. And so this is the thing here is that you have the opportunity to really see exactly what works and see what doesn't work. And what doesn't work, just change it. Yeah. Just change it. You're not going to, let's say, I'm not saying change the whole thing, but just change the specific aspect of things that seems not to work, because you have a lot more to offer the market. And it's all about fixing the problems real quick so that you can move real fast to where you want to go. And one thing I also want to talk about when it comes to the lady, when it comes to men, and when it comes to basic interactions, you have to understand that it's not about, it's not how you feel. Sometimes you can feel like, okay, this credit union or this bank, I really feel that they will accept me. And then when you actually apply, they just reject your ass. Like, they don't tell you right away, because some banks will tell you right away. They'll tell you like, okay, do this at a branch, whatever. But some, they will let you just come to a business, to an actual business, and then and then you start and then they start asking you questions. All right. So thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just quickly talking to you about how to open a business bank account when you have bad credit. So I gave you the overview, the pro tips, the approach, the steps. So I just hope that after listening to this show, you are able to go and form a relationship, clean up your check system report, forming an LLC, consider a credit union, and apply it with a bank that doesn't use the check system. So all those things will be very helpful to make sure that you always get approved. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.